So earlier today, Nikki Haley made a claim that the U.S. has never been a racist country. Take a listen.
Yeah.
Are you a racist party? Are you involved in a racist?
We're not a racist country, Brian. We've never been a racist country. Our goal is to make sure that today is better than yesterday. Are we perfect? No. I know I faced racism when I was growing up, but I can tell you today is a lot better than it was then.
Haley's campaign followed this up with a statement later on saying, quote, America has always had racism, but America has never been a racist country. The liberal media always fails to get that distinction.
Racist. Of, reflecting to, are characterized by racism, such as having, reflecting, or fostering the belief that race is a fundamental detriment of human traits and capacities that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. Of, relating to, are characterized by the systemic oppression of a racial group to the social, economic, and political advantage of another. Racism. A belief that race is a fundamental detriment of human traits and capacities and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. Behavior or attitudes that reflect to foster this belief. The systemic oppression of racial groups to the social, economic, and political advantage of another. Fifth Supreme Court Justice Roger B. Taney said in a decision in 1857, Plessy versus Ferguson, the blacks, had no rights which the white man was bound to respect. When you talk about the history of this country, from separate but equal to the 3/5 compromise, to Jim Crow laws, to Plessy versus Ferguson, and you talk about all the things that black people had to endure in this country, and you have the nerve, the gall to say out of your fucking mouth that this nation is not built on racism and being racist, you have lost your motherfucking mind. Your family comes from India. Your face is fair enough to get you through life. So you didn't really go through what the black man had to go through. You can hide your Indianism, for lack of a better word. I can't hide my black. Because you look like you could be one of them. You've been accepted by one of them. Nobody can say with a straight goddamn face that they've gone through the atrocities that the black man and the black woman have gone through in this country. Racist, racism, prejudice, it's all the same fucking thing. I've had to explain to my children, and I have 6 boys, that you have to moonwalk on water just to be considered average in this country. Chris Rock had a joke in which he said he lives in a neighborhood with Serena Williams, Mary J. Blige, and Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy, who can be considered a GOAT in comedy. Mary J. Blige, who's the queen of hip-hop soul. Serena Williams, arguably the best female tennis player in history. And then you have Chris Rock in that neighborhood. And he said, do you know who his neighbor is? The man that sits right next door to him. It was a goddamn dentist. A white man who was a dentist. Here you have all these people, pioneers in their genre. And his next door neighbor is a dentist. This country isn't racist? This country doesn't have racism? This country is not prejudiced? Go back to the 1980s when crack was rampant in the black community. What did they do? 3-strike laws, mandatory minimums. They put people in jail for 20 years for a gram of crack. And then go back a couple of years to the opioid crisis when white women was getting strung out on fucking fentanyl and opioids. What did they say? When it was black people struggling who had an addiction, they said they were criminals. When white people was going through opioid crisis, they said they needed help. They needed medical attention. That alone should tell you how this fucking nation moves. I got one more for you, Nikki, Namarata, Haley. GOP candidates skip Iowa's only minority-focused forum. Why'd you do it? Why'd you skip it? Why? Do black folk not matter in Iowa? Why'd you skip it? What do you think?